following is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com. It is 4 minutes past 4 o'clock. You are tuned to 96.3 WLCN. My name is Lloyd Kirby. It's time for the 4 p.m. 411. I apologize for the technical difficulties, but I think we've got things rolling as they should be now. We're going to actually have a two-part show today. First guest until 4:30 is Beth Kavelman joining us from the Logan County as the Logan County Economic Development Director, and then at 4:30 we will have young lady in from the Atlanta Public Library and Museum telling us about some of their upcoming programs. But as I said, right now we have Beth Kavelman with us. So, Ms. Kavelman, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Sure thing. So your official, or at least the only part of your title that I mentioned was Logan County Economic Development Director. But I saw in your email there's a few more titles that go along with that as well. So you're one busy lady.
Yeah. Well, I'm also the zoning officer for the county, and we've really been working hard. I also have been writing, with our team, have been writing the broadband grant that we submitted to the Illinois Department of Economic Commerce and Economic Opportunity. That's a mouthful.
Yeah,
but anyway, we're waiting to hear about that too. But that'd be a nice thing to get broadband all the way, middle mile, all the way out to all the communities in Logan County.
Oh, wow. Very nice. So what does a Logan County Economic Development Director do?
Well, we're out there talking to people, and we're out there calling. We hear some leads about things, and I contact them, and we talk. And just today, I got another one came in. They're seeing the things that some of the previous county board did for us. I do want to mention Dr. Hepler. He started this with the renewables, and now we have been known as the Logan County is the renewables county of Illinois. So that's exciting. I know you either like these things, you like solar farms or wind farms. Cost for education and help better schools for our children.
Okay, so how does one go about being an economic development director? Like, do you get people who contact you, or do you actively go out and sort of promote the county to potential businesses, or a little bit of both?
Yes, we do both. And, if I'm at a conference or something, I make sure everyone knows about Logan County and Lincoln. And I believe everybody can be an economic development director. You have to be happy where you live, proud of your community, and just speak up about it. And people really want to come.
Mm-hmm. So, and of course, you previously had served as mayor of Lincoln, so you've got not only the knowledge of the Logan County Economic Development Director position, but also some more sort of behind-the-scenes knowledge that maybe other folks wouldn't necessarily have in that position.
Yes, maybe. Yeah. I keep talking over you. I don't mean to do that.
Oh, no, you're fine.
But yes, we did get, for the first 3 years of my mayor, I was mayor for 8 years for Lincoln, and first 3 years I served as the president of the Economic Development, our Logan County Economic Development Corporation, or whatever you call it, council. And we had a lot of neat things, and we got Cisco here. That was really, really good. And it just takes caring and diligence and just staying with it.
So how are things going in the world of Logan County economic development?
Well, we are booming. I could probably use another stat. We just hired one person full-time, and I think we could really take another one on, too, because we are just busy. Just in the first, we're not even finished with April yet, but we've already brought in just $50,000 and over $50,000 in fees for people wanting to build a new home, and that is indicative that things are happening. People are out there building, and we brought in probably over $34 million $34 million in investments already in just this small time since January 1st.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So got a lot of neat things happening.
So how do you, you mentioned to me off air that things are going well in the county as far as economic development. How do you sort of quantify that? Are there certain numbers you look at, such as the dollar figures?
I keep track. Okay. There's my log, and I started last year. I've only been in this role. I started out, was hired part-time as Economic Development Director, and the other individual was a zoning officer. And then they when he left, then they brought me in as both. So that's what I've been doing. So, I'm comparing with previous years. We are really doing it. And also, if you could base it on our zoning Board of Appeals that we've had 6 of those in a 2.5-month period compared to about 16 months. The last one was the Mulligan Solar Farm. We brought in that 600-acre
Okay.
nice solar farm.
Okay. Once again, our guest today is Beth Kavelman. For the first part of the show, Beth Kavelman, the Logan County Economic Development Director, among other things. If you have questions or are interested, maybe have a comment about things you've been seeing or you'd like to see or whatever, 217-648-5510 is the number to call. Or you can also send us an email, 4pm411 at WLCNonline.com. It is 10 after, so we'll go ahead and take our first break, but we'll be back with more with Beth Kavelman and talk about more Logan County economic development items right after this. And we are back on the 4 p.m. 411 with Beth Kavelman, the Logan County Economic Development Director. Once again, 217-648-5510, the number to call if you have questions of Ms. Kavelman and about Logan County economic development items. Feel free to ask, or you can send us an email, 4pm411 at WLCNonline.com. Be sure to tune in tomorrow at 8:15 when Bill Gossett will host Viewpoint. He will have Ellen Dobahal, who is the membership chair with the Lincoln Women's Club, and also attending with her will be Ruth Sloot, who is a past president of the organization. So that will be happening from 8:15 to 9 tomorrow. But as I said, right now we have Beth Kavelman with us, Logan County Economic Development. So how do you go about in your position? You said sometimes folks call you, sometimes you go to meetings and sort of. Sure. How do you promote Logan County to people? Sort of what's your sales pitch?
Well, just some of the regular stuff people do. Put a sticker on your chest and go around and talk to people and when you're there and tell them you're from Lincoln. When I was mayor, I did a lot of Abraham Lincoln promotions. I still do that. But I think we all, like I said, have to be involved. You have to be happy and, take care of your homes and, just be proud of what you're doing. And it's coming. These people are coming. And it's just hard to believe some of the stuff. We're also getting into above ground storage. We're going to do CO2 sequestration in the pipeline. That's issue that was dealing with things, and we're doing the solar arrays on houses, ground mounted, and rooftop, and a lot of residents are doing that.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot more solar panels. It seems like just driving around town or whatever.
Right.
What are the sort of the benefits or the incentives, or how does that work in terms of helping sell Logan County as an economic development spot?
That just kind of puts a few more dollars into our, but it does help with the grid. We're also doing work with the grid for the energy grid, and that will hook in with the solar farm as well as the above ground storage. that will be really neat. We've got a lot of nice things happening. I know people might not think that's good, but down the road, when the taxes have gone, have not increased, that's I think it's been the fourth year they've gone or just stayed at the level they're supposed to be. Now, don't quote me on that, but I do know it was good things that we have heard about that. I don't know. This is this office is probably the only or one of the only money makers for the whole county. So we kind of have a little bit of pressure on us. It's not bad. We enjoy what we're doing. We both said the other day we liked what we were doing. So I think it's good.
So in terms of economic development in Logan County, obviously Lincoln is in Logan County, and there are, for example, the LEAD organization is in Lincoln. I know the Tourism Bureau, they aren't an economic development per se, but they help sort of promote the county and bring people in. Do you folks, do you work with them at all, or do you all sort of have your own areas that you sort of reside in, or how does that part work?
Well, our county chair sits on the Tourism Bureau, so she reports back to everyone, and I do whenever they need me or something. I'm available. Same way with the LEAD, working with Andrea. She's really a go-getter for things, and I just feel like we're all trying to do our best to make Lincoln, Logan County, and all the communities just shine and do a little bit more with each of them.
So are there any particular obstacles or things that have sort of hindered you to be able to do as much as you would like in your position? When we're dealing with the broadband, getting that grant, that's a $13.5 million grant. We are putting in some of our ARPA funds, and then it's a $10 million grant from the state. And yes, we are waiting for that. If we get that going, we will have enough. We're putting in for another one. I'm writing another grant to pick up the last 3 communities that we had to leave off because of the prevailing wage is required. And we knew it, but I guess the company that's working with us didn't realize it, so they didn't anticipate all that. But anyway, all of our 16 communities, 17 communities are going to get picked up, and they're going to have a little demarcation hut or some kind of a little thing we're going to make, and they have to designate, try to designate a little patch of area that we can put all of our technical stuff in, and then we might even not piggyback, but have other last mile people coming in, like i3 Broadband or Comcast or whatever. They would maybe possibly piggyback on us in our little demarcation building. So that'd be a little rent too coming in. But I think the communities are excited. I'm establishing a person and an alternate person to be our communication connect person. That if we have a problem, they can go run and do something, or at least wait for the person that's the technical person coming in. Anyway, we've got some neat stuff planned, and I think that is drawing the communities together. Okay. Another thing we talked about off the air was sort of a sign of good things happening with the Enterprise Zone.
Yes.
Now, when I first heard Enterprise Zone, I had visions of Star Trek, which I know that's not correct. But for those who may not be aware, can you kind of tell us what the Enterprise Zone is and how it is, sort of helps businesses?
Sure. They have it's a building materials exemption form, and you have to fill out quite a few forms to even get considered. But then that comes into me, but I have to have a building permit. We have to make sure we've got everything, it's all in the building permit. And then we go forward with Enterprise Zone applications and all that. And so then it will be an incentive on materials, and it will help. And it is retroactive. That's what's good, because I've got a stack sitting on my desk right now. So I was writing the broadband grant, and that's what I was told. So, but it is. The Enterprise just came in today, 2 of them. So they're going to take advantage of it.
Okay. Are there any sort of, as Logan County Economic Development Director, are there any sort of, I don't know what the right word is, sort of misconceptions, or maybe people aren't quite sure what a Logan County Development Director does?
Well, I think in your community, the success comes in waves. Sometimes you're waiting 24 months to get something done. You've been working on it, sometimes behind the scenes quietly, because the developers don't want anyone knowing that they're coming into the community, probably because they think the property land will go up or whatever. But anyway, yes, it does sometimes take a little bit of time to get something done, but now it's coming in in waves. It really is.
And do you have any well, we talked about ways to measure sort of the success or lack thereof, and You pulled out your spreadsheet. I don't know if you were on camera when you
you
held
saw
that
my
up
little
or not.
spreadsheet. It's
I
kind
saw
of
it, but I don't know
it's
if
my
our
little.
viewers-
I'm sorry. These are all that came in.
Okay.
Just for the last 4 months.
Wow.
So got lots of solar. People are really doing the solar on their. And I told my husband we were going to do that too, and he said, "Well, we'll just wait a little bit and see how." But anyway, I think it's wonderful because people are jumping on board with some of this.
And you, as we've been mentioning, you're the Logan County Economic Development Director, so not just Lincoln, but also the smaller communities.
Yes.
How do you have, are there any special challenges that are unique to trying to promote businesses to sort of locate in the smaller areas?
Well, no, we have a good relationship with Wes over at the city, and then we also check with the communities as well when someone comes in and asks for like to put a solar in maybe Atlanta, Illinois. We double check with their zoning office to make sure that they are taking care of it or whatever. We just try to work cooperatively with everybody that we can to get this completed, and met a lot of nice, good people along the way.
And what's the saying? A rising tide raises all ships. So
That's
if
right.
businesses locate in Atlanta, then
Yes, they're
maybe
going
those folks are going to come to Lincoln to restaurants, or
Yes.
people located
Everything.
in Lincoln, vice versa.
Yes,
So.
I'm really pleased with what's happening here.
Okay, our guest is Beth Kavelman. She's the Logan County Economic Development Director, among other titles. Maybe we'll talk about those after this break. But we are at 20 after, so we'll go ahead and take our second break, and we'll be back with more right after this. And we are back on the 4 p.m. 411 with Economic Development Director of Logan County, Beth Kavelman. Your title, as I mentioned when I got your email, in addition to that, has several other acronyms and things with it. Can you kind of, in addition to Logan County Economic Development Director, can you kind of tell us some of the other hats you wear?
Well, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I'm on the grant writing committee for the broadband, getting that middle mile in, and then allowing providers to come in and sign up and follow up to get internet to all of our communities in the whole county. And that's such a wonderful thing, I believe.
And when you say middle mile?
Okay, there's different phases. The middle mile is running the dark fiber, the optic out to all these communities. They'll be from this courthouse going outward. Now, Lincoln, Illinois has already been ahead of the game on that. They are already doing with the I-3, you see I-3 broadband, they're putting in the last mile. So they are kind of, we go through Lincoln, but they're already ahead of us from the whole county. But this will be wonderful. We get it finished. And then I'm also I'm enterprise zone, opportunity zone, and administrator. And so I have an assistant now. She's doing a great job. And I think we'll be getting some more of these so we can get some of these things. But we just moved. Our office is over in the Regions Bank, first
That's right.
floor, 303 South Kickapoo Street. People walk in all the time. You come in off the back where you're going to go park your car. You just come in there and take an immediate left when you get inside.
Okay.
And we've moved 2 times in 2 weeks, time. So we moved around and everything. And we were moving out because the courthouse was
All right.
getting remodeled and or renovated. And so that's where we are for now.
All right.
And we like it.
So what is a typical day like for you, or is there a typical day, so to speak?
Well, I mean, for a while I was using my own cell phone for everything because where I was at the Orr building didn't have a telephone jack or whatever. So for a whole year I've used my own. So it rings all night, all day long and everything. But it's wonderful because then people can call over the weekend, or even developers will call late at night and talk about things. So anyway, the phone's ringing and people are emailing, and we are very busy. We have walk-ins, and we help them with, hi, kitty cat. And we help all of them with whatever we can as soon as we can. Sometimes we have them sitting and waiting. That's how busy we've been lately.
And so if someone has an idea for a business and they're interested in locating in Logan County, what would be some of the first steps that they would go through as far as working with you to find a site, perhaps?
Well, we're with the group also, the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council, and now I'm on the board for that. They put me on that about 6 months ago or so, and what we do is they come through. We've got a group that sends all these referrals to us, and then I try to disseminate them out to anybody that I know might have a certain square footage available, or compiling lists of open properties in the community, and just trying to find statistics that would be readily available for us.
So you have to have kind of a working knowledge about a little bit of everything as far as open properties, how big they are.
Parcel, and they have to own the property. When they come in and ask for to put a building on a property, they have to be the owner. So we have to prove that as well. So,
and then I would think Lincoln, just because of its location, would be a selling point as well, being accessible by the major highways and railway and so forth.
It is, and we do get quite a few people calling. Like I said today, someone called as well, and we've been working with them on something.
Okay. And do you have not necessarily your phone number since you have an office number now, but if folks are interested in talking about economic development with you,
Sure.
what would be the best way to get in contact with them?
It's 217-732-5927.
Okay.
Or they can get me at Kavelman at logancountyil.gov.
And Kavelman is with a K.
Kavelman's with a K and a V in the middle, not B, a V.
Okay.
V as in Victor.
All right. V as in
Victor.
victorious, whatever. So our guest has been Beth Kavelman, Logan County Economic Development Director, talking about economic development as well as some of the factors that go into that. We've been mentioning the solar panels and their increasing popularity. Yeah. So how does that maybe help entice a business to coming to Lincoln, not just in terms of the electrical savings, but are there other sort of grants or incentives to have a business go that route?
Yes, there are tax incentives for doing that, but I think it just shows that we are open for this, very open for expansion or for building or for just for economic development. So yes, we've got lots of companies coming in, and the residents must be happier. We'd hear something back from that, but we've installed quite a few of those solar arrays.
Okay, very good. So once again, our guest has been Beth Kavelman, Logan County Economic Development Director. We will we'll learn about the Atlanta Public Library and Museum here in our next half hour. Once again, don't forget to tune in tomorrow morning at 8:15 for Viewpoint with Bill Gossett. He will have representatives on from the Lincoln Women's Club talking about their organization and some of the projects and events that they sponsor and have. But we've almost reached the bottom of the hour.
Okay.
So it went
all right.
quickly.
Well, thank you very much.
All right.
Thanks for the invitation,
All
and
right.
anybody call us.
All right, absolutely. So that's been Beth Kavelman, Logan County Economic Development Director, and we will be back with more right after this. And we are back on the 4 p.m. 411 with part 2 this week, going a full hour again this week as we did last week. Once again, tomorrow morning, 8:15, Bill Gossett will have representatives from the Lincoln Women's Club in. That will be Elaine Dobahall and Ruth Sloot, the membership chair and the past president. And that will be 8:15 to 9 tomorrow. But this afternoon, if I can get my camera squared away here, we do have another guest, and it is Juliana Nordman. I actually said it right that time. She is with the Atlanta Public Library and Museum. She's the museum director as well as the program director, and you've got some stuff happening this weekend.
Yeah, so we're really excited. Our museum is opening, our opening weekend is Saturday and Sunday. Our hours are going to be from 11 to 3 p.m. this weekend. We have all brand new exhibits. Every exhibit has either been completely redone or slightly redone, kind of reshaped. A lot of them haven't been redone or touched in years, so that's no fun. You want to go to, especially for our locals. That's our target always. Is we want to, we want our locals to come in. So you can't have the same exhibits every single year. Then it's boring. So we got all kinds of new stuff. We have never before heard stories. One of them is about, it's been probably almost a year and a half in the making now of us collecting the story, curating the story, and then putting it out on the air. So that one is all about the Atlanta High School. So before Olympia, we had the Atlanta High School here in town. Before that, we had a seminary here in town. So this current school is actually our fourth school here. And so we have our old mascot. His name is Elmer. He was a Red Wing. That's
okay. I remember the Red Wings.
Yes. And so his name was Elmer, and it was never quite understood why he was named Elmer, but we did a lot of research and reaching out to people and kind of stuff like that, getting an oral history as good as we could. So that is going to be on display. It's a beautiful exhibit. I'm very excited about it. We were hoping to have it last year, and it just didn't quite work out. We have all kinds of other stuff out. The story of the founding of Atlanta, because Atlanta, the name Atlanta is actually our third name. We were named 2 other names before that. In Atlanta is what stuck. We have an exhibit on an old police officer. His name was Tubby Mason. He's such a character. He was involved with everything. He was part of a really important trial that was in town. All kinds of stuff. So that's great. We got very exciting new exhibits. So we're super excited. So our regular hours this season from now until probably September, it just kind of really varies on what tourists are like, because we're here also for tourist season. They're going to be Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, 11 to 3. We're hoping that it's going to be spread out. We're hoping to be open 7 days a week, but we really, really heavily rely on volunteers. Me and my co-director, Christina, can't do everything. So we are hoping that we get other volunteers to come out. Last year, we had a lot of high schoolers that were around.
Oh, nice.
So that was super helpful, but it's just they're still in school right now. They can't think about that. So yeah, so that'll be happening as well. We still have our arcade museum there that'll be open. So it'll be super exciting. So we're very much looking forward to this.
So it's opening weekend this coming weekend, this Saturday.
Yes, Saturday, and then we are going to be open Sunday as well, just because it's our opening weekend. It's easier to have an opening weekend rather than an opening day than close the day.
Right.
But so that's kind of what the plan is there, and we're going to go from there. So, yeah.
Okay. And as far as the museum goes, you mentioned how the exhibits you've got, like the Red Wing one, for example, took a while to get put together. Is that typical for the exhibits that you have in the museum, that it takes a while to compile the information?
Yeah. So what a lot of people So I unfortunately have something going against me. I'm not a native from Atlanta.
Shame on you.
I know. I know. I was raised small town, not as small as Atlanta, but I was raised small town. But everything that I know about Atlanta is acquired knowledge. So everything, it's been told via oral history. It's been told by research. Our museum has all of our old newspaper, the Atlanta Argus, from the 1800s until the 60s, 70s. We have all of that. And it's all reading all of that, compiling all of that, using our old books. There's been people in town that have wrote books on Atlanta and the surrounding area that we use. They're not always 100% accurate, but it's all about like, what is someone telling me? What does this book say? What does this book say? Let's use what all three things have in common, and that's the information that we're going to use, because we don't want to spread false information. We want to, that's all for what a museum is, and especially since we're associated with the library, we're here to educate. So it can take, like I said, years. A lot of this is everything, that I know. I could start spitting fast facts if you really wanted me to, but can be, a lot of people don't realize that it's not just about putting artifacts out and everything. It's also about telling a story, because that's what we do. That's our job. So
Sure. And that's an important thing that kind of is becoming a lost art, I think, is that whole independent confirmation about facts. And sometimes people will hear something and just sort of accept it about, okay, well, this person said that, so it must be true, but not always the case.
Oral history, I love oral history. I love oral history so much, but you can't trust people's memories. Memories are not trustworthy. So I'm always triple checking myself of like, I read that somewhere. Where did I read that? Let's go find that again. And, I'm always calling. We have people in town that I call, 4 or 5 times a day if I'm working, being like, hey, what did you tell me about this again? And then, using other people as well and asking them their side of, kind of what happened. So that way it's like the art of storytelling is what we're trying to do. And so it's very difficult and it's very time consuming, but.
So once again, our guest is Juliana Nordman. She is with the Atlanta Public Library and Museum, which will be having its opening weekend this coming Saturday and Sunday. So you can hop online to the Facebook page or the website, I'm guessing, has your hours as well. We will be back with more with Juliana right after this. And we are back on the 4 p.m. 411 with our guest, Juliana Nordman. She's with the Atlanta Public Library and Museum, telling us about the upcoming opening weekend for the museum. Once again, 217-648-5510 if you have questions about the museum or about things, maybe comments. You've gone to past exhibits and enjoyed what you saw, or have suggestions for possible other topics they might want to look about, consider exhibits for. But Juliana, we were talking off the air a little bit about your programming and about the what you offer at the museum. And in the first segment, of course, you mentioned how sometimes it takes a matter of years to actually put things together. My question that I was asking you off the air was, you mentioned the Red Wing exhibit. You mentioned the information about the officer, Tubby Mason.
Yeah, there you go.
And so are all of your programs, are they Atlanta focused, or are there some that are maybe with a little more wider, like general appeal or general focus?
Yeah, so...
Because they're all appealing, of course.
Thank you so much. So a lot of them are specifically Atlanta, or about specific things in Atlanta. But we do have, I always talk about Atlanta. I love Atlanta. Is that, there's a couple things that needed to exist all at the same time for Atlanta to exist, and it's railroads and agriculture. So we have, in the process of kind of cleaning out and reorganizing ourselves, we've come across a lot of old donations that were donated in the early to mid 70s in our museum that haven't seen the light of day since, or may not have even been on display. So we have a really great agriculture exhibit that's coming out, talking about the significance of agriculture and the difference between kind of what Atlanta used to look like. It used to be divided between a prairie and timberland, and then it was kind of, the settlers here were so used to the woods that they were farming there, and then they were like, well, there's so much open field, let's try that instead, and prairie ended up being more successful. So Illinois is the prairie state. That's kind of what we're known for. So we have a ton of generic kind of older stuff from agriculture on display. So we have, it was written in the 70s. We don't quite know the age on it. Some of our records have been lost with years or just were never kept. And I assume it to be a probably about 200-year-old pitchfork that's made completely out of wood. We have it's gorgeous. It's in great shape for it being that old. We also have, one of those old mauls that are just wooden, the huge wooden hammers. It's very heavy. We have an old scythe. We have an artifact that it took us forever to find out what it was. We called every possible person we could. My co-director, Christina, ended up having to call her nephew, who is 19, and was like, you work on farms. Do you know what this is? And it is an old wooden wagon jack that used to prop up the wagon when they were fixing the wheels. Oh, okay. So it's beautiful. It works. So that's on display. So that's kind of more generic of, this is kind of what agriculture looked in Atlanta, and it looked everywhere else there as well. Our military exhibit is a little bit more generic as well as the military, but it does feature obvious artifacts from the area. So
Sure. Okay. And how do you decide what exhibits you will put on display for the public? Does it basically have to do with what you have in-house that you're able to display, or do you ever get any sort of traveling exhibits that folks might talk to you about having an exhibit?
Yes and no. So a lot of it is like, what do people find interesting? And that kind of has changed over the years. And it's hard to keep up with, what if I put something on display, what is something that's going to be interesting. So 2 years ago, before I had this title, but I still worked there, our old director, she had put out a funeral home exhibit. We had an embalming table, we had a baby casket, we had all this stuff out. And a lot of the older community was like, that's creepy, that's weird. We don't want to see that. However, our younger community was like, this is so cool. Think of all the history that's here. Right. So it's all about kind of what we have, what we find. So like I said, a lot of our records have been lost with years. So part of the issue is we don't know what we have. So we're reorganizing, kind of going through that whole process, finding cool things, and then putting it together. So like I mentioned in our earlier segment, it's all about telling a story. So what do we have? What information do I have? And how can I make that cohesive together. We also have tons of other people regularly donating things to us, which is super fun. We had someone in town last year that approached me and was like, I found this. I don't want it. You guys can have it. It's an old movie reel from the Palace Theater that it was in town. He got it actually digitized. He didn't give us like the digital copy of it. I don't know if he had one, but it was all printed on it. And it was an old advertisement from, we narrowed down the year. I believe it's Christmas of 1954, just based on the information we have of the different advertisers, of like, thanks to our sponsors. And that would be playing before the movie.
Right.
So we have that on display now. So that's really cool. And it's just kind of stuff like that where we kind of take what we get and then go from there.
Yeah, try and find a theme or some way to bring it all together. Do you have any, or you mentioned how the funeral exhibit was off-putting more or less to one age group versus the other age group.
Right.
Do you take that into consideration? Like, do you have a certain age or demographic that you try to do exhibits for? Or do you say, all right, this one's for maybe the older generation, this one's for the younger?
Yes,
how does that work?
Yes and no. So we try to make it as open as possible for people. It's like an art to it of like. So we know there's a specific demographic in town. Those are the people that went to Atlanta High School. That high school is always going to be near and dear to their hearts.
Right.
How can we use that love that they have for that school and make it more interesting for the people that didn't go to school there? So one of the other exhibits that we have that is brand new this year about the school is, like I said, this is the fourth school that we've had. The first two burned down. And it's all been on the same lot. So that story hasn't really been told before. It's been known, but it hasn't been told. So now we're telling that story because it's more interesting, but also still has that love for school.
Okay. And once again, if you're tuning in late, this is Juliana Nordman that we're speaking with from the Atlanta Public Library and Museum. 217-648-5510, the number here at the radio station if you have questions or comments. Also, don't forget to tune in again tomorrow at 8:15 for Viewpoint with Bill Gossett. His guests will be Ellen Dobahall, the membership chair of the Lincoln Women's Club, as well as Ruth Sloot, who is a past president of the organization. We'll go ahead and take our last break here, and we will have more with Juliana Nordman from the Atlanta Public Library and Museum right after this.
super well attended right now because school's still going on, little kids and stuff. And I can't tell you the movie that we're showing. If you look on our website, you can see what it is. However, I know that's kind of inconvenient if you're driving or whatever, listening to this. So it is a movie starring Robin Williams about a board game.
Okay.
That should give you a good idea. It's the older one, the one that is Robin Williams in it, not the newer one. So that's tomorrow at 7. We offer free popcorn. We have free soda. You can come. We have kids that regularly come in their pajamas with a blanket and all their stuffed animals and lay out and kind of watch the movie there. We also have a program going on through the library that's run by my co-director called 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten. That's for our preschool aged people in the area, our kiddos that their parents want them to read 1,000 books before they turn 5, before they go to school. So that's something that you can sign up. It's a national program that Christina has decided to start. We also have regularly attended cooking classes that are programmed between now. We just released more for the month of June, I believe. So we are excited about those. We have one coming up on Monday and then the following Monday as well. If you want to, or not the following Monday, it's the Monday after. I don't know the date. It's every other Monday. But we are excited about that. Not the one coming up, but the one after. Christina is going to teach how to make homemade noodles.
Okay.
So that one is actually already almost filled up. So if you want to learn that, you better call us 217-648-2112 and sign up for it. So.
Okay. And it's it was a series of 4 classes this year, I believe.
4, yeah. So we have them regularly scheduled. We just didn't advertise them all at once because that's too much information for people because they go all the way out until September. But you can kind of look on our websites and see which ones we have registered, see which ones we have people, or the recipes are on there as well.
Oh, okay.
So you can find out that all that information on our website. It's all there. It's atlantapld.org. Everything's there. So.
Okay, very cool. And sorry, I was checking another item. Did you mention the 1,000 books program?
I did.
You did? Okay. All right. So we've got like 4-ish minutes left here to talk with you about Atlanta Public Library and Museum.
So our museum, like I said, it's opening weekend this weekend. So it's 29th and 30th. We're going to be open on both days from 11 to 3 p.m. So it's going to be very exciting to come out. You can see our new exhibits. The arcade is going to be on from last year. We do have some new machines that are in there. So you're welcome to come and play. We also have, like I said, all new exhibits. Everything's going to be in tip-top shape by Saturday morning. So we're very excited. So we hope that you guys come out and see it. I know a lot of people have been kind of waiting and, there's been rumors about the museum not opening because we're opening later, but we didn't see the reason to open earlier. We don't have tourists right now.
Right.
And we don't get enough locals in to donate that provide us the money that would make sense for us to be open.
Sure.
So we're still opening in April, and we'll be open all the way, hopefully through September, but as of right now, to September. And then, we're super excited. We hope that you come out.
Now, for those who might not be aware, we talk about the Atlanta Public Library and Museum. There's the library, and then I've also, in putting events in our calendar, there are several events at Union Hall. You talk about the video arcade. So can you kind of take us through the physical facilities you have going on there?
Sometimes it's very confusing. So I don't even understand. So we have the library. That's the library building. That's the 8-sided octagon building sitting on the corner of Race and Arch. It faces the street, and then it's right next to the railroad. So that's where all of our books are. You can check out. That's where most our hub is. Then we have our clock tower, which we also own and operate. Then we also have our museum. So in our museum, we have Union Hall. Union Hall is like our big ballroom space. That's where we have people rent out for baby showers. We have a baby shower next weekend. We've had a couple weddings. We have people, other like just 4-H club in town regularly uses it. So that's in our space. We also have office spaces that are available for lease right now that are up there as well. Then we also have our museum that's also there. And we also own the Palms Grill. And that is rented out by Missy Gaither, Missy Sweet Shop, great bakery. Super excited. Love that place. It's horrible to work in that building because I'm like, she's making cookies today. And so then I'm like, Missy, you're here. So then I'll go and spend all of my paycheck down there. But so I know it's kind of confusing, but if you see anything about the museum or the library, know that it's all the same thing. It's just separated into different spaces.
Okay. And then where does the video game part fit into all that?
Right. So we have we're also the Logan County Visitor Center are one of them. The other ones are in Elkhart and Lincoln. I think there's one more, but I can't remember. Anyways, so if you walk into our visitor center, which is on the corner of Race and Arch, you can see on the right is going to be a big room that has all of our arcade. And then right in front of you is our craft room. That's where we hold all of our kids' programs and everything. And then to the left, then the next building is where our museum is.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a maze, but it's
amazing.
Yeah, there you go. See, there you go.
The promotion writes itself. So
Thank you.
Once again, our guest has been Juliana Nordman with the Atlanta Public Library and Museum, having its opening, not a ceremony, but opening event this weekend. Or you can have a ceremony if you want to.
We don't plan on it. If you want to come do the ceremony, you're welcome.
I'll check my calendar. Maybe we'll make that happen. So.
11 a.m. is Saturday morning.
Okay,
so.
11 a.m. Saturday, and that is in the museum.
Yes, that will be in the museum.
Okay.
So I will be there. At least I will be there. So it'll be super fun. So come on over and check us out.
And once again, if people have questions or want to find out more information, social media website.
So we have our website, atlantapld.org. We have our Facebook and our Instagram, Atlanta Library and Museum. We have our phone number, 217-648-2112. We have email addresses that you can contact us. I'm not going to list all of those because there's too many to list, but you can see on our website. Just contact us if you have questions, if you have suggestions. We love taking museum suggestions. It's all about the public, so we are there to serve. So
Okay, super. Well, thanks for being with us. We're going to hit network news here, but we will talk to you again soon. The preceding program is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.